The film begins when a young couple, Chris Lemons, who works as a saturation diver, and his fiancée, Morag Martin, express love to one another, and Lemons bids her fiancé goodbye because he is built to go underwater again. Chris Lemon, Duncan Alcock, and David Uoso are members of a team of saturation divers who work to maintain undersea gas lines in the North Sea. While on rotation, they and their fellow divers live on board a vessel in pressurized chambers which simulate conditions similar to those found approximately 300 feet below sea level, the depth at which the divers work. The divers are transported to and from this chamber by a specialized diving bell, which is lower to depth from the ship and allows the divers to remain at pressure for the entirety of their 4-week work rotation. During a deployment, Lemons and Uoso exit the belt to begin work on an undersea gas line manifold, while Alcock remains stationed in the belt to monitor their status and distribute the umbilical lines that supply them with communication, power, and oxygen. Lemons and Uoso navigate to the manifold and prepare to begin their work, but on the surface, their vessel's dynamic positioning system, DPS, experiences a malfunction, causing the ship to begin drifting away from the work site. The bell is dragged along with Alcock still inside, and Lemons and Uoso scramble to climb to the top of the manifold so that they will be unobstructed when they are also pulled along. Uoso successfully ascends the manifold, but Lemons' umbilical runs out of slack before he can make it, causing the line to become entangled in the structure of the manifold. Uoso, realizing that Lemons' umbilical will snap in mere moments, tells Lemons to switch to his bailout airline, which will provide him with 10 minutes of emergency oxygen. He promises to come back for Lemons, but tells him he must be on top of the manifold for Uoso to be able to locate him. Moments later, the umbilical snaps, leaving Lemons behind with no air or means of communicating as Uoso is dragged away by the bell still attached to the ship. Meanwhile, in the ship's wheelhouse, the crew look for solutions to the DPS's malfunction. They are unable to drop anchor due to their proximity to various gas lines, as severing one would create an environmental catastrophe. With no other options, the captain and the first mate decide to manually operate the ship's thrusters, preventing them from drifting further away from the work site, while a third crew member works to bypass the reboot process for the DPS. Uoso makes it back to the bell and regroups with Alcock. In the wheelhouse, another member of the crew finds Lemons with an ROV. He is able to observe that Lemons is still alive, but has fallen unconscious and is showing symptoms of severe oxygen deprivation. He attempts to rescue Lemons with the ROV, but is unable to lift him as Lemons fastens himself to the manifold to avoid being lifted off of it by the tide. The crew are able to reboot the DPS and rapidly make for the work site, at which point Uoso is able to redeploy from the bell and rescue Lemons, whose oxygen ran out 29 minutes prior. Alcock brings Lemons aboard the bell and performs mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, after which Lemons begins breathing again. Uoso re-enters the bell, and he and Alcock both attempt to communicate with an unresponsive Lemons, who appears to have suffered severe brain damage as a result of prolonged oxygen deprivation. Just as the two divers begin to accept that they were too late, Lemons begins to speak and respond normally, at which point the bell returns to the ship. The rotation is aborted and Lemons recuperates in the saturation chamber during the voyage home. Back at port, he parts ways with Alcock and Uoso before journeying home and reuniting with his fiancée, revealing to her what happened. In an epilogue, the audience is told that Lemons suffered no lasting mental or physical impairment as a result of the incident, with experts unable to explain the reasons for his survival. Lemons, alongside Uoso and Alcock, returned to work 3 weeks later to finish the job he started. This is where the film ends. Kindly subscribe to this channel, click the like and share buttons, and smash the notification bell to support this channel. Thanks for watching.